Good afternoon, anyone that's joining. My name is Brandon Roberts. I am one of the members of the support team, and I'll be leading today's Lunch and Learn. Before we get started, just a little bit of reminders for our next product roadmap that is starting September 7th. This is a great opportunity to see, really listen in and just see what we've got, some of the exciting things we got coming up for the, next release of the platform. We're gonna start today. Let me pull up the pre-submitted questions that we had submitted. So the first one is coming from Kevin Brown, and he's asking, handling JSON returned by ChatGPT assistant, grabbing that JSON and working with it in the flow, being able to work with it as data lists to create prompt information that can be saved and used multiple times in the future. So to start with, when we get a JSON, right, it's really a JSON that we just handle decisions. So we understand how the ChatGPT sort of assistant sends us back a response. We can create a JSON. I built something really quickly, a small one, and this is a small little thing that I've sort of built just to demonstrate it is possible. But the JSON that we get from ChatGPT or the response will be different just depending on what you send it. I'm not sure on what Kevin was handling, but let me share my screen. I can show this real quick. Let's see. And let me get the share going. Apologies for that. So what I have right now is a really quick flow that I built with a type that sort of gets the response. It says I just made a quick data structure type to get the response in question. I'm not going to get the response right now because I had some trouble figuring that out, but it is still possible. So if we debug this flow really quick, I'll just give it a question. Can you let me know what this error message means? Let me grab my error real quick. Copy that. Enter that in and send it. And if anyone hasn't used any of our ChatGPT steps, these are all available in our Open AI module. And essentially, I've made this call to ChatGPT, and the assistant has given me back, what that error message does. So once you have that data, that comes in as a chat response and a conversation. And depending on, what sort of data you're looking for, you can create a type based on, what you're expecting here. In my case, I just created a real quick data structure type that gets the question and the response. Again, I haven't got the response portion figured out, but I have the question. And essentially, this takes in the question, and this will save it to an entity. And then you can fetch that later, depending on how you want to get that set up. So that's a quick little example, really quick, that I built that will show that off. But you can use if you understand how the JSON looks or what ChatGPT is sending you, or what what you're expecting based on what you're asking it. You can structure a data structure to then take in that JSON and manipulate it the way you need it to. I'm going to take a pause from the pre-submitted questions and see we got a few questions from some of the members on. Let's see, there's a lot. Let me see who's at the start. Starting at 12:03. I'm going to start with the first one at 12:03 from Dennis Gandhi. How to create a JSON payload with participants, data, response, results, name Dennis, name John, age, and empty age. So if you have the JSON, we have steps that we can generate generate from a JSON structure. So if you have the proper JSON, you can give it a JSON name, take in your sample JSON structure. I'll just copy the one that he sent over, slap it in, and if it is configured correctly, it will spit out some JSON for you. If it isn't, we'll give you some error messages based on what they've done. I think I just copied this wrong and I don't have the closing bracket here.
Yeah, actually, it did not. This is Dennis. It did not let me copy everything. So what I'm trying to do is, you see the results. I'm trying to basically build that result stream. Uh, I'm new to decisions, and what I did is I created data, and then I merged all the data, and what I got was different responses. But I don't want that. I want like this different entities like Dennis, John,
Mhm.
whatever names, right? Build that output payload per se.
Okay.
Um,
So what this would probably look like in decisions, I'll just create like a simple data structure if you want to go that route, or just show you how it's built. Essentially, you can go to any data structure really. We're looking for results. So the structure type in this case would just be, let's just call it results for now. And in every result, we'd have like a name and an age for that type, right?
yep.
Now I can't use, I wouldn't use name here. I'd give it a bit more, actually name might be fine. I'll just give it test name.
First name. Yeah, that's fine.
Give it and then I just give it age should be fine. In decisions, there's specific keywords that we should throw warnings about. I believe we do, so name might be fine, but there's specific names that you want to avoid. Like I think entity might be one of them. Deleted, I know for sure is a field that we don't want to name something because we already use that name in one of our like our default structures that we create with these types.
Okay.
So it doesn't look like we're doing that for defined structure. So I'll put a note in that we should put there a warning for reserved names. Essentially, you would create this test name and age for that, right? So then I will save this, and then we'll just jump in this flow one here. We'll create a data step, call it test data results. And we'll just give it.
See, I want a list of names, right?
Mhm,
So I'm creating data multiple places per se.
mhm.
I want to join that results basically.
Okay. And so what you can do then, right now I only have it configured for one, but once we have the type configured, we can do is list to make a list of these, right? And
Mhm.
then now if you already have the data, you can map it in as a like separate type. Or in this case though, we'll just build an array. And what it'll do is build an array of those types or of this type. So then 30, we'll leave that. Do
See, the
Dennis.
thing is, so before this create data step, I have multiple truth tables per se, right? And I'm validating the data in truth table. And then each of those truth table, I'm taking the data out of it. And let's say if something hit, right, then I'm creating a data based on those truth table. Now I want to basically take those two results, right? And I want to kind of merge it into one array per se. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, so then we could use, if we want to just take those items and merge them into an array, we can use what we call an add item to list step.
Yeah.
Oops. And essentially, right now it says a string type, but if I give this the input of my test data, you click off it, decisions will automatically convert it to the type that we need. And
Uh-huh.
so right now I'm giving it the entire list, but I could just go into the list and just give it one item from the list like this. That should work. And then we'll just say list of tests data. And there's no original list. This is the original. Oh, actually, let's do this. List of test data. Actually, no, we can just do it. We don't need to even reconfigure it. We can
Wait,
just.
hold on. So the list, like when you create data, the
Mhm.
create data step, it's only creating one set of data. It's not going to create a list of data like how you have it.
Mhm. So this is
So yeah,
so yeah.
you can remove that is list. It's just going to create a test data of results. And
Mhm.
then you're going to have another create data box that's going to create another set of data,
Right.
but not a
So
list.
right now it's just how do I explain this? So we have a test data list, right? We'll just say test data is a single item, and test data list is the list that we want to push it in.
Okay.
So we'll just pick this or not. Say test data list new. Give it the original list of this. We have to define a list in this sort of thing. Now, with your results that you have, right? Depending on you've done your checks and you're passing out the data that you need from your truth table. So for this case, since you've already done the evaluation on what your list that you're outputting for your truth tables, which you want in this list, we actually wouldn't use this is for we would use this for single items, but we have a separate step for multiple items. So add items to list step. This takes in a list of items.
I'm not, no. So I have multiple. So from the start, right?
Mhm,
I have the split, or what's the word I'm looking for? I have where you can split the data, right? So
mhm,
I go into different flows at that point. I have
mhm,
three different flows, and I'm creating three different data sets. And
mhm,
then whatever the results for those three different data set is going to be, it's going to have name and age per
mhm,
se, right?
mhm,
So premium customer, let's say, and then mid-level customer and low-level customer, and it will have their age.
mhm.
And right, and then I want to add those three things to the list called results. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
right. So this is what we would use to add items to list step because like once we have that set of data, right? The Oh wait, okay. So age, so are age and name separate here? Or are they in like a single container type?
Now those are, I mean, I'm basically hard coding that in create data step,
Hmm.
right? So if you were to if you were to, can I share my screen or no?
You wouldn't be able to, but you can walk me through like the data that you have. I can create data for it here.
Well, hold on one second. Let me see what is the step that I use. I forgot now. Search for merge step, right? So how you have merge, you also have the split, right?
Hmm.
So what is it called? Not split string, but split, like where you. How do I tell you which? What's the name of the flow is? Flow data. Step info. Oh, branch. Yeah, branch. Search for branch. So branch
Okay.
step, not for
Okay.
each branch step. Yeah. And now in here, I would take my input, right? And I will have three different paths.
Hmm.
So the first path will create a data, second path will create another set of data. Or if it's easier to just add to the list, I'm okay with doing that too.
Hmm.
So that, yeah. All right. So now you have now in first create data, you're creating age and name, right? And in create data on the second one, you're also creating name and age. And then I want to add both of them to the list and then output as a JSON payload.
Okay. So now we say test data and test data 2. Okay, so now we want to take these two sets of data. Let's give it something. And then we want to then join this into a single list.
Yes.
Okay. So what we could do here, we can do this. So we have add on to list step, right? We can put this in both paths. As long as the list is created, we can still add to that list later down in the flow, if that makes sense to you. So let's just give it let's give it the name combined list. Actually, we could just, because we can just merge. Let's add a merge step here. So we could do, and we could do this. We can do this in different ways depending on when we need the merge to happen or when we need the list to be completed. But we can do this like a couple of ways. We can just have two of these steps, or we can add items to the list. But we can do this way for now. So from the first one, we're just going to take test data, and we're going to add that to test data list. So now we have this combined list. Now we can do copy and paste this. And in this one now, we're going to take test data 2, because this is the second list. And the original list now we're going to take is combined list. So this one has data TTT40. This one has, let's set this to E again. And we will debug this real quick. So now we have these two in the list. Now, when you're now once you have the flow, or once you have that already set up, what we can do as far as like an output, like a JSON output, we'll just say output data from lists. We'll do results. And save it. And then we'll just take in that combined list, and then we'll have that output of the step. Now this will output the step into like now this is how you would do if you're sort of calling a flow, but we also have the it's trying to remember which one is which. We have the serialized step in the JSON serialized step. So we have I think we would, gosh, I have to remember I always forget the order here. I believe the JSON serialized serializes the step or the type into a string, into a JSON string. So this is the step I believe we would need here. No, we serialize this JSON into a string. Sorry. So if we wanted to output this as a single string, then we would use this step. But as we want to take a string and then serialize that into a JSON type, we could do it that way. By default, though, decisions automatic, we should be outputting the type as a JSON object. So depending on, are you making this as like a call to a flow, or are you then taking this JSON and passing it? Okay. So then this is the way you'd want to do it. Then you would just take that type that you have and then just make that an output on the flow. And once the flow executes, it should send it back as a JSON.
Yep, that's what it's doing. It's just that the format. So if I had, let's say, multiple create data steps, let's say about 10 of them, then I have to do 10 times this add item to list for each of those.
We could, we'd still, yeah, we'd have to, if you know, if we could do like an add item to list step, or we could do, hmm,
So you need to have the list created, right, in the beginning in order for me to add to that list.
right. We would like to have the
So I
list, like
can
the list
create,
created.
yeah, I can create before branch step, right?
Yeah, you can create the list before the branch step, and then you could just have an add item to list step that just adds them all to it.
Before merging them,
Right.
right? And then just okay, that makes sense. So so basically I need to create a list and then add item to the list as I go along.
Correct. You could also, we have like if you, because you'll have by that time, if you have 10 of these, you'll have multiple add items to list steps, right? We
Mhm.
could, hmm,
What is that?
if we don't,
Add items to lists, right? We can do that after
yeah,
merge.
we could do add items to list, add items to list step. And depending on your type, let me just get the uh, results. Well, not even depending on your type, with your type, the results type. We could, in theory, we could just build an array. Like we already, if we know it's always going to be 10, we could just build an array of those items as well. Just do it all in one step as well at the end of the portion. If I replace this real quick with this one, and what I can do is just get the test data here and another one, test data two, and we just get that test data list. We'll get the same, we'll get the same effect. As long as like
Okay.
that number is the same though. So we can do it all at one step if we want to keep it cleaner. We would just have to build the array on that step.
I see. Okay.
Alrighty. And we'll move on. That answers your question, right? Right, Dennis?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. So then moving next, let's see, we have Q&A at Trouble from Jason Jennings. How can we set an environment as read only? We often in our dev only and deploy to QA prod. We do not make any changes in the downstream environments and like them read only. If someone is checking the phones, it seems to set new timestamps and causes deployment issues. Hmm. I think read only is not a function currently in the product, but I believe that is coming soon. I don't know if it's going to be in version 9, but I've heard some rumblings about it. Um,
Okay.
if it's possible, I don't believe users necessarily have to go into the flows all the time. If you, we do have a preview. So if someone just wants to examine the flow, they can always go into the show preview option and that'll show a preview of the flow. And let me double check. I don't believe this should modify it. So if I go to this flow, right click it and show preview and refresh, that does not modify the date. So if users just want to take a look at flows, now are they going to be going in the flow and like examining every step, or they just want like like a screenshot like this?
Not 100% sure, and I'll check with the team to see if they're using the show preview or not. It's just we suspect that when we're doing our deployments, some of the collisions we have are because someone needed to go into an environment, check on something. Maybe they're
Mhm.
looking to see if a particular flow or something was deployed properly, or
Mhm.
I'll check and make sure they're looking at show preview and let them know that the roadmap might have the concept of a read only coming. Um,
Yeah, I haven't know if it's been mentioned on the read, but I have heard rumblings about this. Also, I believe as long as the user doesn't save, they shouldn't get a modified date hit. So as long as they're going in from the flow level. Now, this doesn't if they go into like a flow and then go into like a subflow within that flow, that may trigger it. So that could be the scenario there.
Okay. All right. And as I get more details, I've been enjoying the lunch and learn. So as I get more details, if there's any more questions, I'll be better prepared.
Okay, yeah, feel free
Thank
to
you, sir.
yes, sir. Let's see, jumping back. So that was Jason. Next at 12:05 from Nancy Lancic. I have two tables that I joined together using SQL and do a cross tabulation query using pivot clause. How can I show the results of that query in a form such as a data grid, as well as give users the ability to download the results to an Excel or CSV document? If you're using a raw SQL step, that might not be the best way to do it. I think, Nancy, the best way for you to do that would be to create a table or what is it called? You can add the query here. So what you should be able to do, I haven't done any testing with like cross tabulation queries, but when you generate a query, when you generate a query, you can generate a query type for that as well. And when you generate that query type, you should be able to then select it from let's see. You could use a data grid, or I might recommend using like an advanced data grid because it uses more of it's a better way to report on that sort of stuff. It's pretty similar to our reporting engine. So with the advanced data grid, if you create a query type, you should be able to report on the records that you get from that better.
Okay,
But
I'll give that a try.
Yep. I think, let me see. I believe we have documentation on the query portion. Let me see real quick. Um, and Radley has a hand up as well. Do you want to see? Oh, it looks like William has, that's reserved words for data structures. William, could you see if you can find documentation on on query definitions or creating a query type? And then let's see. Radley has his hand up. Let's see. Sabrina, can we take Radley off mute, please?
Hey, Brandon,
Yep.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I have a report that I'm building on a simple data structure. And one of the members of that data structure is a date of birth, which I've marked as PII.
Mhm.
Would that prevent the ability to put that field in the report? Because that is the only data member that's not available to use in the report.
I believe so. I believe with PII, I don't think we'd be able to report on that particularly.
Okay.
Wait,
What am I?
decrypting.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You had a follow-up question.
I was gonna say just so what are my options to be able to show that data to a defined group of people?
Let's see. Actually, you know what? I believe I'm wrong there, and I apologize for that. I
Okay,
just looked up something on there. So on your report, let's use this example I already made. I'll just say, let's call it date of birth, date time. Does this not? I thought I could set this as PII, and not. Oh, that's right, because I'm not using a database store type. That's why. Now does this give me that? Okay, let me try creating a different type. Let's do this. There we go. And what I'll do now is create a report. Did it not? Okay, there's configuration. There it is. Test people. Date of birth. Click add, okay. There should be calculated column. Encrypted PI data field. Here we go.
That was an add calculated column.
Yep. It is a calculated column here. And I don't think I have real data here, so I don't think I'll be able to calculate it, but this should allow you to display the PI data.
There it is. Okay, very good.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Let's see. Next, I'm jumping back to the questions from Morel. I have a general question regarding the DocuSign and Adobe modules. We are sending PDF documents for signature, and we like DocuSign boxes to match the size of boxes and fields on underlying documents. Let's see. I believe with DocuSign steps. Actually, with the DocuSign module, let's take a look at that. I haven't messed with that too much, Morel, so I'm a little out of my element here, but I'll see what I can do to help this out. So let's go to features. Install the DocuSign module. Let's jump back here. Let's jump into flow one, actually. And then DocuSign. Documents would get signed documents. I don't know if we have.
The problem we're having is on the send side.
On the send side, send documents for signing. Okay. Document, receipt signing order.
Yes.
Transform PDF fields. This might be better. This might be a bit better as a support
What
ticket.
was that transform PDF?
I'm sorry. A transfer PDF field. This is just a Boolean, but I think this might be better.
I can absolutely make it as
so we can dig into this a bit more. Thank you for that. Then we can get someone to look at this.
Not a problem. I can definitely do that.
All righty.
Okay.
So then next from Q&A from Jason, entry-level question that doesn't need to be discussed. I'm working to launch decisions in my organization, and our security team seems not to be able to locate any specification documentation around data security policies at decisions. Do you have a link to any documentation that describes data encryption in your security model, such things as whether you support personal have access to our data storage encryption? Let's see. We do have some security stuff about setting up our securing a decisions installation, setting up security questions for an account. We
More
should
around
have some
the
document.
like the
Oh, sorry.
security architecture behind it. So I know with other SaaS apps, it's, if I call into the support ticket, do I have to grant access to our data if something's going to be dug into, or, what are the protection models around it? And corporate security, really.
I don't have the answer for that. Have you gotten in contact with any of our sales team members?
We have, and it seems to be, we get kind of vague answers on that. So I was just wondering if it was something documented, because I can't imagine other people are not asking these questions.
I'm sure people are asking these questions, but I think most of those get solved or discussed over meetings.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see.
I can keep trying. If it's something that you don't have access to, no worries. I don't want to derail the technical benefit of this meeting for sure.
No, I for sure want to. William, do you think you can dig a little bit into documentation, see if you have anything to answer this question? I hate to have Jason just sort of, out here without an answer. I feel like we should have that somewhere, but we've just got to dig and find out where it is. We've got a lot of docs on stuff, but we'll keep digging, and if we find it on this call, Jason, we'll get that over.
For sure. Yeah, just drop it in the chat. That'd be great.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Let's see. Next from Q&A from Anonymous. Hello, I'm trying to create a unique case number with the first two letters of username along with the year and month. Is there an easy way to do this without creating a query? If you're using our built-in case entities or process folder types, you should have the option to actually, let me see, you should have the option to actually do that on the creation of those. So if you create that, let's see, do case entities not do this? I thought they did. Maybe they do not. Now there's a step. Jump back in here. Set up process folder. And so with the process folder, you can make that unique. You can define the prefix length. Now you can make the prefix you can control the flow prefix here or the process folder prefix on process folders. I don't know if that is, I don't know if that's possible I don't know the rest of the portion if we're able to control that with the process folder, but I imagine you could, I'm sure you could, year, month, is there a way to just create a query? I bet you could come up with some flow logic to do something like this. So we can extract from text. You use like an extract from text. We could probably use an extract from text to get some of the characters from the first name. Then we can do like a join string we can probably use an extract from text and some join string logic to do this. I'm trying to think if I can do this on the fly. I don't know if I can do this on the fly, but I imagine you can probably create you can create some flow logic to first generate the ID before that. Is there data, see, text, capitalize a string, create link, get lid from string, get string from bytes, get string length. We can definitely trim string. No, that won't do it. I can't think of how to do this right now, but we could. You could definitely come up with some. We can definitely come up with some logic to create it in the format that you need to. I think it just requires a little bit more. May require like an example build or just some more time to sort of build it out. And then let's see. Nick had a question. I joined to see if there's a way to log raw XML and be able to see it in decisions. Yeah, if you have your XML being sent into decisions, we have our logging steps that you can take in. And let's see, here it is. That you can then give a category to, between warning, error, fatal, or information, and debug, and then give it a category, and then you can map it in. This is a great use case for the JSON serialized step I mentioned earlier. I believe this may work with XML. Let me reconfirm that. If not, it may not work. If we can get it into a type, we can serialize that into a single string and then map that into a logging step. With XML steps, though, I don't know. Oh yeah, we do have XML serialized. Great, so this will work. So if you're sending in the XML as a call to decisions, by default, certain complicated types won't be showing up if we just log them out. They'll just show up as like an empty bracket, right? But with this serialized step, we can serialize that into a single string and then pass that into a logging step, which will then log in, what's being passed into decisions. Fewer customers use this to keep track of like payloads that they're sending in decisions for like troubleshooting and testing. No, I actually realizes a bird. Yep. So the XML set will stop from sanitizing the XML string. I'm not 100% sure there. I have not fully tested this, so I don't know if it does. We'll stop it from sanitizing it because I don't know if we have a raw. I don't know if we have a raw option. We have the readable XML output, but I haven't played enough with this step to really confirm if it does take in the raw or if it will clean it up or sanitize it. But that would be right now. That would probably be the best way to do it. Yeah, not a problem. So those answers those questions. I'm going to go back to our pre-submitted questions. This is from Sean. How do I validate a string text imported from an Excel spreadsheet to be a certain amount of digits? I'm wanting to validate a number imported from a spreadsheet and check to see if that number is 12 digits. So this was a pre-submitted question, so I had time to actually build this out. I have an Excel sheet, essentially that we have a for each Excel CSV row step. And what I'm doing for each row is just running a character length that checks to see if the value is greater than 12. So if I just debug this real quick, I'm going to, where are my stuff? Downloads. Here we go. To-do list from Saturday. And came up and it is going through and adding any sort of characters that are, or any values in there that are longer than 12 characters. On the last execution, I just have test, which is of course less than 12, so it doesn't value that. But the for each Excel step row is a step you want to use if you want to go through an Excel. From there, we output what we call a dynamic data rows. And in dynamic data rows, we have a bunch of values. If I show you an input mappings, we have a current row and we have up to 99 fields. I believe you can add more fields, but I don't remember the exact way to do it. But in every field, you have a cell value. And within those cell values, we have different values. So we have the raw value, text value, the number value, is a Boolean, is date, is number, the Boolean value, Boolean value or no. We have a lot of different values within every cell value of a dynamic data row. So if you want to get a specific value out of there, that's the way you do it. You just extract it from there.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And the last pre-submitted question we have is from Janice, and I apologize for getting to this so late. Get custom attribute from user octastep only returns a string. How would I get back a custom attribute that returns a list? Now, I'm not the most fluid in Okta, but I'll try my best here to answer that question. Let's see. Let me get custom. An account service. Forgive me, Janice, as you can see, I'm not really fluid with this, but I'm gonna see if I can find this step and take a look at it. Get user, get custom attribute, get current, get by user identifier. I had someone look into this as well. So let's see, integration. What they're telling me, we can use the get by user ID to get the full list. Found an integration. Integration. Let me hop out and hop back into this. Let's see. Because I don't see the Okta category at all. Let me double check to make sure I have that installed properly. Yeah, that'll do it. There could be an issue with my local for this. I've got it installed now. Okay, I think we may need to put a support ticket in for this one. Unfortunately, my Okta configuration seems to be, my local doesn't seem to like Okta right now, so I can't really dig further into this. Let's see. What we'll do for this one, I'll make a note for this question. To get a support ticket in so we can look into this and get you a better answer here. Apologies for this. We'll move on to yeah, it doesn't look like, well, we have it installed, but I think we're running low on time, so I don't think I have enough time to dig into this anyway. So we'll get a support ticket in for this one. So I think, and that looks to answer all of the questions that we have today. I don't have anything else to present other than what I've already showed today. Quick reminders for anyone that has joined a bit later today. We have our product roadmap presentation coming up, I believe, on the 7th. So let me share back that one. So if you haven't ever attended one of these, and you want to get more information on the product or what's coming in the future, definitely recommend joining in. There's a good time. You get to hear a lot about the product and just see some of the exciting things we have coming up soon. Let's see. I think then we are good to. Looks like from William, we'll be viewing flows without being able to edit. So I believe that answers the question that Jason had earlier. That should be shown up on the product roadmap. So I don't have anything else today. Again, thank you guys for joining us today. And I think tomorrow is Jared. He's a member, probably the leading member of our training team. So if anyone here has been to training, you'll recognize his voice. If no one else has been to training, this will be your first introduction to him, but he's someone who's been with the decisions team for a really long time and really understands the platform and how to really demo and how to work through problems. So thank you for everyone for joining, and you guys have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, not a problem.